Liverpool. They have had an incredible window, and it looks like they'll be adding even more. Hugo Ekitike potentially on his way to Anfield. What's the latest on that one?
Yeah, well, this is what you get when you run really sensibly and sustainably, and you don't spend any money in the summer of 2024. It means you've got a rather large checkbook and you can attack the window, and that's exactly what Liverpool are doing. They've got these targets, they've gone out and got them nice and early, and yet there could be another 100 million euro player about to hit Anfield. Hugo Ekitike, what's the latest? Well, talks have continued over the course of this weekend between Liverpool and Eintracht Frankfurt. We reported yesterday that the fixed fee part of the deal was agreed. That bit was sorted between the two football clubs. That's 80 million euros, which is around 69 million pounds. That's the guaranteed payment that Liverpool will be making to Eintracht Frankfurt. The conversations then continued with regards to what the add-ons were. Now, we've been reporting throughout the course of this summer that Eintracht Frankfurt wanted 100 million euros for the player. They're not going to get that, but they certainly will be getting close. There were some reports today on social media and from some transfer experts saying the deal was worth around 95 million euros. Our sources haven't confirmed that as of yet, but there is a real confidence between both clubs that they can get the deal finalised and sorted. I know there has been further contact and negotiation throughout the course of today. One of the things that's quite important to point out with Eintracht Frankfurt is that they're really meticulous about the way they do business and the way they do their player sales. And they always stand firm on the valuations that they have on the players. Now, you'll know because you've covered these transfers in the past, and they're always very specific about what they get, and they always want top dollar for their players. And when you look at the list of players that they've actually sold to Europe and to teams in the Premier League, you can see the type of money that they are generating. Obviously, Randall Kolo Muani up the top there for £64.2 million. Omar Mamouche to Manchester City in the January window as well for just over £60 million. Jovic to Real Madrid, Sebastian Haller as well for £45 million to West Ham a few years ago. And obviously, when you look at the potential deal for Hugo Ekitike, it would sit right at the sharp end, right at the top of that list, which gives you an indication as to the type of deal this is, the money that's involved, the type of player they have on their hands, and what Liverpool potentially are getting. We know that the player wants to move. He was keen to join the Premier League, and when the interest of Liverpool was made aware to the player, he was like, absolutely, I want to join the Premier League champions. We know that there was that rejected bid from Newcastle earlier in the week as well, but as soon as Liverpool entered the transfer, for him, he had one eye and one eye only on that football club. So it feels like, with that basis, the personal term's not going to be a problem. It feels like it's only a matter of time now before we get deal agreed. Hugo Ekitike will be heading to Anfield.
You say Hugo Ekitike heading to Anfield. He could have been heading to St James's Park because, of course, Newcastle United had a £70 million bid rejected by Eintracht Frankfurt. And this was, of course, against the backdrop of a certain Alexander Isak. Now, Newcastle United were thrashed 4-0 by Celtic in a pre-season friendly yesterday. Alexander Isak was not in the squad, and in fact, he was left at home. Eddie Howe told everyone and the media exactly why Isak was left at home. Here he is now.
Alex was with us all the way through Austria, but today, with all the speculation and things that are going on, I decided to send him home. The last thing Alex wants if he's not playing is to be sat in the stand, being under that scrutiny. I don't think that's fair to the player. So if he wasn't going to play today, which we mutually agreed that he needs a little bit more training grid time, then it's best he's not here. Yes, I've had discussions with him, but that's not abnormal. I respect a player's career and how short it is. All the time I will be communicating my desires and my wishes to them and what I see and trying to help them. Alex has been really good and he's trained really well so far this season. So I know there'll be lots of noise around it and I can't really control that, but from inside he's been really good.
Has there been any approach for Alex? Has there been any approach?
No, there's been no formal approach.
I respect a player's career and how short it is. Key words from Eddie Howe there about Alexander Isak. Should Newcastle United fans be worried in any way that this has reared its head again, given Liverpool have kind of pivoted from Alexander Isak to Hugo Ekitike? Could it go back the other way?
I don't think so. I think Liverpool are so far down the track with Hugo Ekitike and Frankfurt that it won't happen. However, the noise, I hate to say, for Newcastle fans won't go away. You get the feeling that we'll be talking about Alexander Isak right the way through to deadline day on September the 1st. The positive as far as Newcastle fans are concerned is that Liverpool spending the best part of 100 million euros on Hugo Ekitike means that they don't have 100 million euros to spend on someone like Alexander Isak. And as we know, where the Premier League sides are conscious of PSR, we know that teams in La Liga have to be very careful about what they spend as well, particularly Barcelona, so it leaves only Real Madrid. There are very few sides in European football that could afford the type of money that Newcastle want. Now, their stance is quite clear, and Eddie Howe said this after the game yesterday. He's not for sale. We don't want to sell him. And that will be their message to any potential suitor between now and September the 1st. But this is a player that got 32 goal involvements last season in all competitions. He was absolutely sensational. He was one of the best strikers in world football last season. So there is always going to be noise. There is always going to be interest. Now, Newcastle do hold the cards because he has 3 years left on his current Newcastle contract. So therefore, it's